How are we all doing this evening? So forgive the noise of the heater in the background, but so anyway, I thought I'd show some of my freight car fleet, at least as much of it as it would fit on this table. I didn't want it to be too long and boring, so I figured I'd just pick out some highlights, some personal favorites. So I'm going to start over here. This row is for the New England roads, because I'm a New Englander, so I decided to prioritize them, put them first. But here's this New Haven boxcar from 1956, and this is a really nice car. I got this pretty cheap, and I think because this door right here is a little faded. On the other side, it's more, the orange is still pretty much intact, but it's almost more pinkish over here. So I got this pretty cheap, I'm assuming for that reason. But yeah, I really like this car, and it's fairly lightweight for one with these heavy trucks on it. And next we have this Rutland boxcar. This is from 1972, and really nice looking boxcars, as were the prototypes. And I got this one pretty cheap too, because the ones from the post-war era I think are more collectible. This is an MPC era, but you know, I happen to find the MPC era first, so I'm not too concerned about collectability. I just, think it's a really pretty car. And right here we have the Boston and Maine. This is from 1957, and I really like these cars because I'm just old enough to remember when a few of these were still kicking around in real life. And the McGinnis Herald, it was kind of fading into, when I was a child, Guilford bought the Boston and Maine, and the image was kind of fading. The Herald was sort of fading at that time, but it was still fairly common, even until when I was in high school, on freight equipment and stuff. So, and I always really like the way it looks. I know Patrick McGinnis's legacy with the B&M is decidedly mixed, but I always thought it was a nice looking Herald. So moving down here is one of the famous Bangor and Aroostook State of Maine boxcars. And yeah, these were very common on America's rails from like the 1950s to the 1980s. And this is a 1990, I think 95 or 96 replica of the post-war ones. And I did have a post-war one, but it was not in the best shape, so I sold it and kept this one. But this one is the paint is much crisper on it, because it's not as old. And yeah, really, really attractive freight cars. I wish they still made these, but alas. And here's a Delaware and Hudson wood reefer. And I know the Delaware and Hudson isn't specifically a New England railroad, but it did have a presence in New England, so I thought, what the heck, I'll just throw it in there. But yeah, this is from 1991. And yeah, really purty. So moving on up here, we have this New York Central stock car from the 1950s, and this has its original box. I didn't bring it down because it would take too long to set up, and I was lazy. So, yep. But yeah, as you can see, these doors open individually. These two separate doors open individually. And yeah, it's in pretty good shape. Not a lot of chipping in the paint. And right here we have this Atlanta and St. Andrews Bay boxcar. This I bought just about a week ago. This is my newest acquisition. And this too has the original box, but this is from 1980. And, not an elaborate paint scheme, but very pretty nonetheless. And I really like the Herald on this. Really stylish. And right here is this Eerie Boxcar, and this isn't really, this is kind of drab looking, so you're probably wondering why it's here, but I just really like it, because this is probably early 50s. And I think this dates from when they had they used clear plastic. So when you find one of these that's not all chipped and stuff, it's a treat. But yeah, but I really like this car. And moving down here, we have this United States Mail, and this is undated, but I'm guessing probably late 50s to 60s. maybe even as late as 1970, thereabouts. Rough guess. So, yeah, United States Railway Post Office. So, and then moving down here, this I believe is, yeah, KLine from 1991. It's sort of a replica of the post-war Lionel Western Pacific boxcars. But yeah, really nice looking silver with orange. Not a color combination you see very much of. But yeah, rides like a feather. Yep. So, and this one, I found this for dirt cheap in an antique shop, and this is a really nice looking car. It just jumped right out at me. But from 1973, the Anhyzer Busch Budweiser wooden reefer. Yep. Yeah, but a nice combination of red and white there. Very Christmassy. So moving on up here, this is 1970, I think 72, 73, a Baltimore and Ohio automobile car. And down here, it's 1976 DuPont Chemical Car. This has its original box, although the box is not in the best shape. And that's partially my fault. I bought this a long time ago, and I didn't take as good a care of the box as I should have. Shames me to say. But the car is in good shape. That's ultimately what matters. So, and then moving on down here, this is from 1954, Santa Fe Reefer. Yep. Yeah, I really like this color combination too, the cream and rust oxide, or whatever you call that color. Boxcar red. Yeah. Yep. And this is another one. This is the oldest one in this collection. This is from the 1940s, probably late 40s. It's really, really pretty smooth. The paint is, like I said with the Eerie Boxcar, a lot of them from this era, the paint is badly chipped, and you can see the clear plastic through it. Which, you know, looks pretty awful. But this is, the paint's in really good shape, and I really like the natural weathering of cars from this era. Like I can't weather. I couldn't make this look more realistic if I weathered it. But just the natural discoloration in the paint. But it's great. And this is my little tank car. This is I don't know how old this is. This is. What was this? This was a KLine, I believe. Oh, no, MTH. Sorry about that. But really nicely detailed. So, yeah, most of the stuff you've seen thus far has been boxcars, but because, you know, they decorated boxcars more than most anything else. So, but there's a few other things besides boxcars on this collection. And here is a really nice covered hopper. I love the detailing on this. And this is from 1984. This is part of Lionel's famous American Railroad series. You see that little gold-colored diamond there. Yeah, it won't focus, but that's what it says, famous American Railroad series. But that was a series they did in the early 80s. And here's a KLine, Baltimore and Ohio refrigerator. Nice detailing on this. This is from the 90s, like 97. Well, I had to, these doors kept flopping open when the train was moving, so I had to take the top off and put a piece of tape inside to stop them from flopping around. So, and then last in this collection is this nice 1953 Great Northern boxcar. And this, the paint in this is exceptionally good for its time period. And it didn't have its original box, funny enough. But I really like how it's looks like it's supposed to be sort of a boxcar red, but it's almost more of an orange color. And I just really like the way it looks. So anyway, that's just some of my fleet. But and I do have some other cars that are homemade. And I'm going to show them in a separate video. But these are some personal favorites of mine. And, yeah, anyway, that's about it. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you made it this far and didn't get bored, kudos to you. But anyway, have a good night.